Hello, it's Mrs. McCullough again, and we have another lesson in this series about how readers question and predict. We've talked about a lot of things so far, but where I want to work today is in this middle part again. We talked about how you question while you go, you wonder about things. I wonder why this happens. Or, I wonder how long that's going to take. Or, I wonder. You know what? There's another kind of wondering that we do. And sometimes it leans on the side of we're confused. We just don't know. A lot of times when I think about this kind of confusion, when I'm reading, especially informational text, it's usually when I come across a word. I read a new word and I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm kind of confused about it. And so I'm going to add this new icon to our chart over here because it happens during the reading. It happens in the middle of the reading of the text. And so that's when we might be like, I'm confused by a certain part. Or what does this word mean, right? I'm just confused. I don't understand this part. So I'm going to add those pieces in. And I want to talk about what do we do when we are confused by a word, okay? And so let me show you what I was talking about. Remember when we read this text, Tundra Food Webs? And as we were being information thieves and we were just stealing as much information as we could, we started looking at the text features first. And when we were at the table of contents, we came to Tundra decomposers. And I said, what's a decomposer? I never even had heard of that word before. Well, let me tell you that rather than just go on, there is something that readers do. There's something they can do to help themselves. You see, readers can check text features. Text features? What's that? You know what? It's a lot of the things we were using when we did the preview. The pictures, the captions, the maps, those are all text features. And then there's a really important text feature at the very back of the book. And as a matter of fact, let's look here at this page. Do you see where it says glossary? That's what it is. That's where you should always go when you come to a word you don't know and you're like, I've never seen that word before. So if I had gone back to the glossary on page 38, so let me kind of get back to that page here quickly. So if I'd gone to page 38, then look right here under D. It's an ABC order, decomposer. A decomposer is a living thing that feeds on dead plants and animals and breaks them down into nutrients. I could have helped myself right there. You see, writers of informational text expect to teach you new things. That's why they're doing this. They're going to teach you new concepts. They're going to teach you new words. And so they are going to give you, the reader, tools to help yourself to figure out what these new words mean. And the big one is the glossary. So let's go back into the story here, the passage. It's not really a story. It's informational text, Ms. McCullough. Okay, so let's go back into the passage. And remember on page 12, when we were just doing that preview and stealing information, we read this part. A collared lemming eats part of a dwarf willow in its burrow in the active layer. And I said, what's the active layer? Never heard of that before. Oh, where should I have gone? The glossary. That's right. Use a text feature, Miss McCullough, to help yourself. So look at the glossary. Guess what? Right there. Active layer. I don't have to be confused anymore. What does it say? The top layer of tundra soil that thaws each summer. Plants and animals live in this layer. Yeah, I could have looked in the glossary to help myself. Now, a lot of times the author will have it in other places, and the author did explain active layer back on page 7 when we were actually reading the body copy, the paragraphs, reading all the words. That's what it says. It's the top layer of soil that thaws. Okay, so, but the glossary is always available. So text features include pictures, captions, maps, diagrams, subheads, anything outside of just the written words, just outside of those body copy sentences and paragraphs, okay? So let's try this. Let's try this with an actual book that I have here for us. So the book I want to use today is called Axolotl. And you might already be thinking, what's that word mean? Well, that's a type of an animal. And so here is the axolotl. What I want us to do is I want us to read through and I want us to see if there are any words that come up and see how we could help ourselves with some of the text features. All right. Okay, so I'll be the reading voice. You guys be the thinking voice. It's going too many pages here. Here we go. Ready? What's this weird but cute amphibian? It's an axolotl. Tiny eyes, feathery gills. And you know what? My thinking voice already said, what's that word mean? Did your thinking voice do the same thing? Was it on amphibian? Yeah. Amphibian? I mean, I've heard that word before. I know it has something to do with animals, but I don't really know what it is. Is that what your voice was saying too? Where could we go? Well, we could check a picture. That's a text feature. Okay. Is this an amphibian? But I still don't really know what an amphibian is. So where should we go? When we're confused, we help ourselves by going to the glossary. And a lot of informational text has a glossary. So let me go back here to the glossary. Oh, look, this even has a picture glossary, my favorite kind. And so what does it say? Amphibian, an animal that lives in water while it's young. Most live on land as adults. Okay, so they live in the water all the time while they're young, and then mostly on land when they grow up. Well, that's really helpful to know, isn't it? Yes. So now, as we go back, what's this weird but cute amphibian? Right? Oh no, we understand it now. We're not confused anymore because we checked the glossary. It's an animal that lives in the water while it's young, but then on the land while it's an adult. Okay, so now, is there anything else that kind of came up on this page that made you think, what's that word mean? How about over here? Feathery gills. Were you wondering about gills? Okay, well, we can check the text features. When we're confused, we can help ourselves. So let's look at the picture. So feathery, those kind of looks like feathers. You think those are gills? But do we really know what that word means? Do we know what gills are? We're still kind of confused. So let's go to the glossary. Does it have gills here? Why, yes, it does. The body parts of underwater animals that are used for breathing. Oh, so we don't have to be confused anymore because now we know that those are used for them to get air. All right, see, this is what readers do. They question while they go, and if they're really confused, how can they help themselves? What tools can we use to help ourselves understand what the words mean? Okay, so let's go back and let's try another example. Here we go. Yep. The axolotl is a type of amphibian called a salamander. Many salamanders spend time on land, yet axolotls spend their whole lives underwater. They live in a lake in Mexico. Fire salamander. Let's see this. The axolotl has two nicknames, the Mexican salamander and the walking fish. Okay, so did we come to any words that we don't know? Anything get you confused and make you think, what's that word mean? Salamander? So did you check the text feature, the picture? Here's a picture of one. Salamander. But do we really know what we could say it's some sort of animal, kind of like a lizard, but where would we go if we wanted to help ourselves? To the glossary? You got it. Let's go. When we're confused, we should go to the glossary. And here it is, salamander. A type of amphibian with smooth, moist skin that looks like a lizard. Yep. Are we confused anymore? Nope, we helped ourselves by going to the glossary. Let's try one more. You ready? One more. Here we go. Axolotls dart in the water to hunt for prey. They eat worms, small fish, and insects. The salamanders catch food with tiny stump-like teeth. Worm, fish. The axolotl swallows its prey whole. Okay, any words on here make you go, I'm kind of confused. What's that word mean? Any? I was thinking of that one too. I was thinking of prey. I know what prey is, but it's not spelled like that, and I don't think the axolotl's doing that. So, what's that word exactly? Well, it says here that they hunt for prey. So, is it food? I could check the picture because it says the axolotl swallows its prey whole. Is that its prey? Is that a tongue? What is that? Where could we go to help ourselves even more when we're confused? Where can we go? To the glossary. Let's head over there. Ready? Prey. An animal that is hunted by another animal for food. Oh, that's what it looked like was sticking out of that axolotl's mouth. It wasn't a tongue. It was a worm. All right, guys, you're doing it. You're doing a great job. You see, when you read the text question while you go, you wonder about things. You have questions, but a lot of times your questions, what you're wondering about, are actually the words. What's that word mean? I've never heard it before. Or, what's that word mean? I think it has something to do with, but I'm not really sure. And so the authors of informational text, they give you tools to use so that you can help yourself. And they'll give you text features with pictures and captions, but they'll give you something else. What's that called? The glossary. And where can you find it? At the back of the book. And so you flip to the back, you look up that word, you see what it means, then you flip back to the other pages so you can continue on reading, just like what we did. Okay, I have a couple more books for you to try this out. I found some really neat books about animals I'd never heard of before. And so this is the pangolin. You can choose to read it or have it read to you. And when you come to words you don't know and you say, then you can go to the back of the book and look words up in the glossary. You can also use the text features as pictures. Look, I have a couple more for you. Snub-nosed monkey. You could read about that when you come to a word you don't know. Check the text features, the pictures, and the glossary. And the last one, check that out. Polish chicken. I know, isn't that a hoot? All right, so if you come to some words that you don't know and you say, what's that word mean? Where are you going to go? To the text features, the pictures, the captions, the maps, and to the back of the book, to the glossary, because you can help yourself now as a reader to figure out what these words mean. That's what you would do if you were in Mrs. McCullough's class. You'd read one of these books and practice going back to the glossary. But your teacher might have an even better idea.